Let's go, Mr. Vice President.
No, roll call.
Go ahead, say roll call.
Mr. President, if you're ready.
Yes, sir. Roll call directors, please.
Yes, Mr. Butler.
Present.
Mr. Coleman is present. Mr. Hallinan.
Present.
Mr. Holtum is not present. Mr. Kranick. Present. Ms. Lavasi.
Present.
Mr. McHale.
Present.
Mr. Suma. Present. And Mr. Morocco. And also present are Mr. Marichak, Mrs. Lapaka, and Attorney Dempsey.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to announce that there was an executive session held for personnel and legal matters. The floor is now open for public discussion. Please come up, state your name, and let's have it.
John Gatto, 1611 North Webster Avenue, Dunmore. I'm here to speak on behalf of the teachers. Navigating through these uncertain times has been difficult for all of us. However, we do appreciate the fact that we've been able to maintain a functional relationship, not only with Mr. Dempsey and the administration, but also the school board. We'd like to take the opportunity now to thank the parents and the families for their hard work throughout the virtual instructional period. We know it's been challenging for them. It's a lot of hard work, but their hard work has not gone unnoticed. The teachers tonight appreciate the opportunity to voice their opinions and concerns in the form of emails, letters, and personal discussion with some of the board members. They're hopeful you will vote to delay the in-person instruction until everyone has had the opportunity to be vaccinated. COVID-19 has taken the health and the lives of many of our loved ones, and we feel going back to in-person instruction prematurely would go against what we've been trying to accomplish all along, and that's returning to work in the most healthy and safe environment possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gatto.
Yep.
Anyone else for public discussion? And on that matter, Mr. Gatto, I'm sure not just myself, but the rest of the board appreciates the open dialogue and the positive attitude that's been given on both sides. Again, during this very difficult time in our administration, I'd like to thank Mr. Marichak, because I think he's the spearhead to this, and the dialogue between yourself and John and Mr. Ferguson has been very productive from what I understand, and I'm sure the rest of the board members appreciate it also. Anybody else for public discussion?
Mr. President, I do have some virtual.
Mr. Marichak.
Okay, folks, I want you to bear with me. Sometimes my voice gives out a little bit. Good evening, Dunmore School Directors. Since the start of the pandemic, I think overall the district is doing okay when it comes to the regulations and limitations put in place. When fall sports started, I think sports were made more of a priority than education. During these desperate times, desperate measures needed to be made. Canceled season for the football team is not the end of the world. I do feel sorry for the seniors that might have to miss out. But some lessons can be learned. As we all know, the real world can be a cruel place and sacrifices are made constantly. Football season ends and all of a sudden the COVID cases increase, in which there were one or none from August through October. All the new cases throughout November, along with the raising cases statewide, puts all in a panic. So the district goes to the hybrid to fully virtual. During this time with no students, the cases of course are minimal. Spring sports practice start, and now here's another case. The state want younger students back. All the parents want the students back. I think it's about time that education be the only focus for now for our great district. Cancel sports for as long as you can. If students can come together for practice, they can come together to get back to school. If all the safety measures are being met like they were in the beginning, we should be fine. Again, parents should have the final say on to whether send their sons or daughters. I have 7 children who go from kindergarten to 10th grade. We need to get them back to school. I work third shift and making sure that all current with their work and all are current in their work is an all-day event. School might end at 3, but it expands way beyond my household. The stresses are mounting for the parents, especially those who work full-time jobs. We are not stupid to know that the school is not a babysitter or daycare, but what I am seeing from my children and others over the Zoom meetings that are starting to get really comfortable of being home. Discipline is out the window for some of the new teachers or younger grades. There is no control. I know all of you discuss these topics in work sessions or before the school board meetings. Just remember, it is time to get back to school and some sort of normalcy back. We have to work together to get through these stressful times. Thank you, James Orr. To whom it may concern. Hello, I'm the parent of a 6th grade student and a kindergarten student currently enrolled in the Dunmore School District. We've gone to Dunmore since my oldest was in kindergarten. Dunmore has always treated my children like their own. Made good choices, made them and myself feel safe at times. I trust the board's judgment when it comes to opening under a new hybrid model, and I trusted the board when they decided to move us to all virtual. I see in the meeting agenda this week there will be a discussion to determine the date that the elementary center goes back to a hybrid schedule. As much as I want to know my boys need to be in school, I believe it is too risky to rush this decision. We're in the middle of the highest outbreak in the district since C-19 started last year, and the kids aren't even in school. The teachers should wait until vaccinations are completed before school continues, or the county is back to lower numbers. Thank you for listening. Thank you for all you do for our students. Donna Kane. Hello, I am writing to give you the feelings of one father of 2 students in the Dunmore Elementary Center. These are my opinions. Do with them what you will. Most importantly, I would like the decision of the school board to be data-based. Wherever that leads, if the judgment based on a risk assessment is that the students need to be virtual, then so be it. Till mid-November, both of my kids were hybrid, and it worked well. They honestly could have had more work to do on the home days, but I understand the pinch teachers were in. When they went all virtual, I also understand it was out of your hands until now. If my research and memory serve me right, there were a few cases reported within the elementary center, and none caused the spread of any sort. The only spread in many of the cases seemed to be older students and sports teams. It seems to me that the following state recommendation to return elementary students to the school in a hybrid system is a no-brainer. The risk is minimal, and it was before, and it can't always be reversed at a moment's notice. The trouble part is the sports, where several spread events have happened, both reported and not. Yet sports are going on full stream for seemingly no reason. I played sports in school, and I understand that the students want to. You as their protectors are letting them down. The students should be in school as much as possible, and the athletes should be training safely, awaiting their return to the arena. Unless you are going to admit that sports matter more than education here, there is little argument for the current state where those are reversed. Thank you, Brian McNichols. To whom it may concern, with the increasing number of staff members who have contracted the virus recently, I do not feel our children should go back to a hybrid model at this time. Smaller children may not get the virus as much, however, they can still transmit it. I strongly feel that our children's health and safety, as well as the safety of our community, comes first. Given that, I strongly encourage the board to keep things as they are for the time being. This comes hard for me to say because as a parent, we are frustrated and stressed having our kids at home, but is the best option. In regards to the sports activities, a lot of parents feel that although sports are a great way for kids to get out, exercise, and be with their friends, it's counterproductive. We are keeping our children home from school to maintain social distancing, then why are they playing sports? School comes first, and I think we'd be best to hold off on sport activities until the numbers are super low in order to prevent even more family, staff, and community members from getting sick. This is just common sense. Now the vaccine has come into play. I strongly recommend that the school board urge staff members, parents, and children to get it. However, I also believe that it should not be mandated as many people are not comfortable with getting the vaccine yet, as it is new and many people do not agree with vaccines. It should be a choice and not a requirement. Thank you, the Quiros family. Good morning. I hope this email finds you well. With the school board meeting quickly approaching, I wanted to reach out and ask some questions about the potential of reopening schools. I am a bit apprehensive with the reopening of the schools with the number of COVID-19 cases Dunmore currently has within the district. I am concerned that if students begin to attend school again, that the numbers will continue to rise, putting more school personnel and students at risk. Should the district be moving to the hybrid model, what precautionary steps would the Dunmore be implementing to help with the mitigation efforts? In addition, the hybrid model were to be implemented again, what changes will be made? In my opinion, changes need to be made to prior hybrid model to ensure a more effective educational model. I believe that the hybrid model, students should continue to be provided with the virtual live instruction component at home. This would ensure continuous instruction be provided to all students at home and learning virtually. Learning both in school and virtually would allow students to receive support at times from school personnel. This is a critical component that will enhance the learning environment tremendously. The district cannot revert back to the prior model of hybrid, as most students only receive 2 days of instruction with worksheets and other 3 days. Lastly, would parents have the option to keep their children home to learn virtually through the Google Classroom platform option? Parents need to be provided options during these unprecedented times. Thank you in advance for taking the time to read my answers and questions, Mrs. Chemchik. The mission of the Dunmore School District is to promote a healthy, quality education through student participation and opportunities that prepare them to be well-rounded, productive members of society. My comment is in regards to the rationale made by the Dunmore School Board permitting in-person athletic sports, practice, and games while simultaneously implementing that students will attend school virtually. This loudly and clearly sends a message that in Dunmore, sports are more important than school. Per Governor Wolf's administration recently issued revised guidelines for returning K-12 students to school this semester. Fully remote learning remains recommended for middle and high schools in substantial level counties, but elementary schools, even if in substantial areas, are being advised to consider in-person hybrid model. If the state's current recommendation is for students in middle and high school to remain in the virtual model, how could Dunmore allow in-person sports for middle and high school athletes, where by default players have more difficulty socially distancing, masking, and sharing touching equipment? Perhaps postponing our sports program will accelerate the timeline for our students to return in-person classes. As a Dunmore resident and parent, I urge the board to remember our mission and thoughtfully consider new findings and research that continues to emerge about how to navigate this pandemic. Using the fact-based evidence, please take the approach steps towards safely and expeditiously returning our students and teachers in person to in-person classrooms. Dunmore athletics should not supersede Dunmore scholastics. Thank you, Jen Novak. Good evening. Please advise of your plans to help facilitate the vaccination to our teachers and student staff. Also, we'd like to thank Mrs. Labasi in particular for her tireless efforts to prioritize education over extracurriculars. The learning loss and fragility of all of our children's mental health should be the utmost concern. She has been fearless in defense of that priority, and we appreciate her commitment. We continue to pray for a speedy and safe return to the classroom as soon as possible. Sincerely, Karen and Frank Padula. I have a daughter in second grade. I wanted to voice my support for school returning to a hybrid model, at least for the elementary school. As you know, PA, Department of Health, and PDE have updated recommendations so that even in communities with substantial spread, a hybrid model for elementary students is a recommendation. Positive cases of the COVID-19 virus have also overall lowered substantially since the school went into virtual instruction in late November. My daughter has been struggling with virtual work and cried when she found out the class was becoming all virtual. Although I understand there is a risk, I think DSD overall did a great job mitigating the risk in the classroom. School is much more than just learning spelling or math, and the students really missing out on socialization and other benefits in-person schooling provides. Cheyenne Brennan. Hello, just like in August, you give parents who felt like it was unsafe for their children to return to school in person a virtual option. We would also like the choice to let our child return to in-person school if they feel that is best for that is what is best for my child and family. It is not fair to be forced into virtual when it isn't best for everybody, the Napoli family. I have a daughter in second grade, Dunmore. I wanted to voice my support for school returning to a hybrid model, at least for the elementary school. As you know, PADOH and PDE have updated recommendations so that even in communities with substantial spread, a hybrid model for elementary students is a recommendation. Positive cases of the COVID-19 virus have also overall lowered substantially since school went into virtual instruction in late November. My daughter has been struggling with virtual work. Although I understand there's a risk, we did a good job mitigating before, and that's from Brennan Clemente. And that's what I have right now. I just want to take some time, Mr. President, to publicly discuss some of the things we talked about in the work session.
Yes, sir.
And hopefully have a path forward. We did receive a letter Francis, do you have the ability to post a letter from Dr. Levine and Noel Ortega? We received a letter as a school district, as an educational community back in, I believe, second week of January, where out of the blue, they came out one day and said, you know, notwithstanding the susceptibility of adult populations, a recent meta-analysis indicates that younger children younger than 10 to 14 years of age have lower susceptibility to SARS-CoV-2 infection than adults. And based upon this evidence, they basically came out and said, and I don't want to read to everybody, but they basically said they would recommend, if the local situation lent itself to it, to a return to a hybrid in-person model in the elementary level around the second semester, and that depended upon which school district you were in. And we originally did try to target that. We had negotiations with our teachers union, and we had a bunch of outbreak in the community. So we were originally going to target the 25th, and we just still think that that's practical right now. This pertains to our elementary and some of our smaller special ed groups. We want to get them back as soon as possible. So what we would have to do is reverse our attestation, which we performed back in December, which we'll take care of. But this is a tentative, soft target date. We are hoping that things will progress in the community in terms of lowering of incidence, as well as the availability and people getting the vaccination that are going to have to work with these children. So again, a soft target date somewhere around the week of February 16th. We're going to meet as a board between now and then, and we will meet as an administrative team, as well as cooperation with our union to see where we are. We will keep our public informed as much as possible to get everybody back here. First, the elementary building, later, the secondary building, as soon as we can safely and do it in a healthy manner. So that's not set in stone, that's our target date. That's what we talked about. We're going to work towards that goal, and we're going to keep everybody informed along the way. I don't know if anybody else on the board would like to make a comment at this point.
Well, John, I think you did a nice job with that, and I think we've been pretty fair with it, and I know the union has, so let's proceed as you just stated, and I'm very well satisfied with it. Anyone else?
You got it, Mr. President.
I don't know if now is the time to bring up concerns of the teachers, or if we should wait till new business at the end.
Judge.
I can't hear.
I had her word.
Plexiglass.
Okay. I have the letters that the teachers had passed on to us as board members, and I just wanted to address some of the concerns so we can make sure that it's public.
Well, I think they're the letters we received at our house.
Yeah,
Well, why would you want to read them again?
I'm not gonna read them all. I'm just gonna highlight the concerns.
Yeah, under new business, Jesse, okay? Thank you. Okay, motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting from November 18th, 2020, reorganization meeting, 12/1/20, regular meeting, 12/1/20, and special meeting, 12/7/20. Motion by Mr. Suma.
So moved.
Seconded by Mr. Kranek. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. A motion that permission be granted to the following for the use of district facilities and equipment. The use of district facilities is subject to the conditions established by the Dunmore School District and may not conflict with any regular scheduled activity. The use of the DHS softball field on 6/17 to 6/20/21 for Lackawanna County Visitors Bureau slow pitch softball tournament. Motion by Mr. Coleman.
So moved.
Seconded by Mr. Morocco.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion to approve changes to the district's health and safety plan. Motion by Mr. McHale.
So moved.
Seconded by Mr. Butler.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to approve expulsion of student ID number 682265758. Motion by Ms. Labasi,
So moved.
seconded by Mr. Suma.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion to approve expulsion of student ID number 524-595-7434. Motion by Mr. Kranick,
So moved.
seconded by Mr. Coleman.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion to approve expulsion of student ID number 853-0354-044. Motion by Mr. Coleman,
So moved.
seconded by Mr. Morocco.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion to accept personnel reports. Motion by Mr. McHale.
So moved.
Seconded by Mr. Butler.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to accept a letter of retirement from Mary Hurst effective June 9th, 2021. Motion by Ms. Labasi,
So moved.
seconded by Mr. Suma.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. I'm sorry. I would like at this time to congratulate Mrs. Hurst. Mrs. Hurst and I go back to kindergarten we went to together at St. Anthony's and through high school, and I wish her the best of luck. She's been a great credit and a great teacher to this school district, and I wish her all the luck in the world. Yes. Motion to appoint Michael Enot, 8th grade basketball coach for 1 year. Terms are defined in the agreement with the Dunmore Federation of Teachers. Motion by Mr. Morocco,
So moved.
seconded by Mr. McHale.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. Motion to appoint Joshua D'Annunzio, assistant weightlifting coach. Terms are defined in the agreement with the Dunmore Federation of Teachers. Motion by Mr. Butler,
So moved.
seconded by Ms. Labasi.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Motion to accept the resignation of William Hartshorn, volunteer football coach, effective immediately. Motion by Mr. Suma,
So moved.
seconded by Mr. Kranick.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Mr. Mayor Check, if you would extend our thanks to Mr. Hartshorn for, I think it was the year that he served. He did an outstanding job with our student athletes, and that the board appreciates all that he did. And,
I certainly will.
thank you. Okay, motion to approve the following payrolls: 11/27/20, 11/11, or 12/11/20, 12/24/20, and 1/8/21. 11/27/20, $397,629.83. 12/11/20, $383,861.98. 12/24/20, $378,547.59. 1/8/21, $371,310.16, for a total of $1,531,349.56. Motion by Mr. Coleman,
So moved.
seconded by Mr. Morocco.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Motion to accept the Treasurer's report for the months of November and December 2020. Motion by Mr. McHale.
So moved.
Seconded by Mr. Butler.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion to accept the real estate tax collector's report for the months of November and December 2020. Motion by Ms. Labasi,
So moved.
seconded by Mr. Suma.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion to approve payment for the list of bills for $829,523.81. Motion by Mr. Kranick,
So moved.
seconded by Mr. Coleman.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion to accept the activity report for the months of November and December 2020. Motion by Mr. Morocco.
So moved.
Seconded by Mr. McHale.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion to accept the wage tax collectors' reports for the months of November and December 2020. Motion by Mr. Butler.
So moved.
Seconded by Ms. Labasi. I'm sorry.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. To approve the Bucks Basic Program for unemployment compensation for 2021. This is a self-insured program with the annual administrative rate of $2.92 per employee. No increase from the prior year. See the attached list. Motion by Mr. Kranick.
So moved.
Seconded by Mr. Coleman.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Excuse me. Motion to adopt the attached resolution stipulating that there will be no increase to the rate of any tax for the support of its public schools for 2021 and 22 fiscal year by more than the index established by the Pennsylvania Department of Education for the Dunmore School District, Act 1, we'll see attached list. Motion by Mr. Morocco.
So moved.
Seconded by Mr. McHale.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Excuse me. Motion to approve a special education settlement agreement for student number 575-317-9894, excuse me. Let me read that again, just to be clear. 575-317-9894. Motion by Mr. Butler,
So moved.
seconded by Ms. Labasi.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion to approve a resolution for the NEIU number 19, 2021-2022 operating budget in the amount of $20,038.71. There is a decrease of $473.73 over the prior year. Motion by Mr. Suma,
So moved.
seconded by Mr. Kranick.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
On the question, Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Morocco.
I just want to let you know, myself being Dunmore's representative on the NEIU board, I think this is the 7th or 8th year that either the general operating budget was either decreased or flatlined. I think that's a good tribute to our administrators working with Mr. McTiernan and the NEIU.
It
Thank you.
sure is, Mr. Morocco.
Thank
Thank you very much. Ms. Labasi, before, I'm going on new business now. I'll make this very brief here. Under new business, I have, as of January the 1st, 2021, that Dr. William Dempsey be named Doctor of Record for the Dunmore School District.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. McHale.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Butler. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ms. Labasi.
I just wanted to, first thank how tirelessly our teachers have been working to switch in and out of various models of instruction that we've never presented before, and how I think they really took on the task of live Zooming instruction. It's a very uncomfortable format to teach in. It's not an easy format to teach in, and it's, even with my own son, it's lovely to hear him fully engaged in the lesson, receiving that direct instruction, that back and forth, the question, checking for understanding. It's been a good substitute for the time being, and I know we're discussing the plan to kind of look at how we're going to phase back into in-person instruction. That's not a decision any of us take lightly, and of course their safety is a concern. So I know when I received these letters, I did read all of the letters, and I just want to make sure that I think these letters should be sent in for public comment in the future. I think this is important information that the parents should have as well. Just coming to us is not the only way that gets heard. And obviously there's important information in these letters that parents should understand. I know the cafeteria is a concern for some of the teachers that get assigned to the cafeteria because Obviously, the kids are unmasked in the cafeteria. I know we've had a lot of difficulty hiring extra help to kind of spread the kids out. I don't know if that's something that has changed at all, Mr. Marichak. I don't know if there's any.
We have
Anybody
about
that-
7 or 8 long-term people actually working, so we don't have a ready list right now.
Yeah.
of People that will come in the event that there's a quarantine, but we have a lot of people helping us on a daily basis.
Maybe perhaps we can have more people in, even in the phase-in periods, that would keep the kids a little bit further apart. And I know that there's some kids that don't come in masked due to health reasons. I understand that there wasn't very many, if any. I don't know if that's changed at all,
Maybe like 1.
but I don't know if, of course, that should be only with the medical note, correct? Still?
Correct.
Okay. And I know the concern is, of course, the older kids. That's why I kind of suggested a phase-in approach where with the younger kids, the data is pretty clear at the younger ages that the kid-to-kid or kid-to-teacher spread is pretty much non-existent. There is no data to support that is a cause of any kind of even community spread. It has very little effect on the data and community spread if the little kids are in school. And that's why I think it's wise to not have the high school kids, in school yet either. I know there's some concerns with when kids are ill and have to get sent to the nurse and parents are not kind of readily available. The way that the school plan is written is that if any exhibits any symptoms of really any illness, the kids should be immediately picked up, and that, we should be encouraging parents to make sure that they're answering those calls, and perhaps we can encourage their switch to virtual instruction if they can't be readily available when they need to be picked up. Our hope is that by giving us a few weeks cushion here, that we can get more people vaccinated, and that it seems to be rolling out chaotically, but it seems to be happening, even though teachers aren't supposed to be getting it now. It seems like a lot of districts are making that happen. So of course, we're trying to make that happen as well within the district. It seems to be entire districts are magically getting the vaccine. I'm not sure how that's happening, but I know that it's pretty liberal for the pre-existing conditions, so I encourage people to find as many avenues for phone numbers. They're posted on the county websites for access to vaccines to get them. I was able to get an appointment today, so it's not for a few weeks, but I just think that this is valuable information. I think it's issues that either if it's cleanliness in the classrooms or the hallways and the bathrooms, whether it's issues of certain classrooms that may be too small, that we need to look at other areas that we can spread kids out and utilize space differently. It definitely needs to go through the chain of command. It definitely needs to be brought to the attention of the public. Us just kind of discussing it doesn't always solve the problem, so I'd like to see those letters in the future just be presented honestly for discussion. Because we want to see these issues resolved. And I discussed it with Mr. Marichak earlier. So if that's not kind of getting through the chain of command that he can solve the problem, and then if it isn't getting solved, of course, we want to hear about it. But if some of these concerns in these letters are valid and not being addressed, then I have a problem with that, because I do think they should be addressed. So I would just encourage that for public comment, or that make sure, it gets in an email to us so that it's done as soon as it's happening. I don't want to see it delayed.
Okay, as far as I'm concerned on that last topic, that shouldn't even get to a board level, as far as I'm concerned, okay? That's why we have 2 building principals. And I'm sure that if it got to Mr. Marichak, he would handle it, or Mrs. Lopatka. So, I don't know if that's how you were getting
Yeah,
at
I just feel
from
like,
there.
of course, if it
As
isn't,
far
if
as
they feel that
my
there's this
room isn't
many
clean,
issues
should not get,
addressed,
it shouldn't get to a board level.
yeah, I would hope that that's.
Yeah, so, I know things do, and
Well, I recommended that we all receive the school
That
district
happens.
email.
I'll take care
We're
of it.
gonna, that way, when we can be CC'd on these emails, and that way, when it happens, we're all notified, we can all see the chain of responses and how they're resolved, and we can just be kind of the quiet bystanders on the emails, kind of CC'd, but we can see that it's addressed, and then there's no time in between, if this was stuff that was from a month ago, that we know that it's been taken care of. want to see this.
No, this is the truth, and since this man's been CEO of this district, whatever has been given to him, whether by the board or by anybody else, any kind of complaint, even compliments, he's handled it tremendously. And I have the utmost confidence that he'll handle whatever else is coming down the road, so, like I said, not to repeat myself, but yeah, something like that shouldn't get to our level. And again, I'm sure John and his staff will handle whatever they have to handle with that. Now, that's relating to what you were talking about, cleanliness and the rooms not being up to date or cleaned
Yeah, I mean,
properly.
any concerns with like, classroom side, there's some issues with if the kids come back hybrid, higher numbers of kids in
Well,
certain
yeah, I
classes
wasn't,
than others,
I wasn't referring
Yeah.
to that. I
But
was
even just
referring to
anything in
the,
general, I feel like
No.
that way.
okay. All right, is there anything else under new business? With that, we're gonna have a motion to accept the president and superintendent's oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Marichak.
Nothing at this time, sir.
Superintendent's report.
Nothing at this time.
Thank you. Moving along. Motion to accept the president's and superintendent's report and make them part of the minutes. Motion by Mr. McHale,
So moved.
seconded by Mr. Butler.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion to adjourn to meet at the regular session or at the call of the chair. Motion by Ms. Labasi. Jess?
Sorry, say that again.
Motion by Ms. Labasi,
So moved.
seconded by Mr. Suma.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes